Welcome to our class today. Integrated Marketing Communication is the title of this chapter, which is just an overview of all of the issues that we're going to talk about. They start off with an opening story, and it was a campaign from 2012 that Miracle Whip ran. Well, it's Kraft, and they sell both mayonnaise and they sell Miracle Whip, and they're trying to drum up a little bit more energy. You can see they have a new bottle, a new kind of logo there, and they wanted you to choose sides. I'm a Miracle Whip person or I'm a mayonnaise person. Now, I guess a lot of it depends on what you grew up with, but it's not the first example of this type of campaign. There's multiple ones. Charmin ran a campaign. Do you pull the toilet paper over the top or do you pull it down from the back? Twix ran a campaign. Which side of the Twix candy do you like? So it was kind of interesting, kind of a fun kind of a strategy. So here's an ad which I'm going to put up a link to later that you're going to watch. There's also another ad here. Another thing they did that I thought was kind of interesting was that they had a pretty good Twitter feed. Now, bear in mind that this is just, Miracle Whip. Oh, it popped out more than I wanted it to. Let's pull it back in like this. So breaking news, mayo removed from a small town in Florida. Here's why. No more mayo. So it's kind of a fun thing. We got to have everybody try the Miracle Whip. And so they're out about doing some interesting marketing. If you're a product that's been around as long as Miracle Whip has, people know who you are. It's kind of an idea to get you to try them again for the first time. If you didn't grow up with them, then you're probably not used to eating it. They also have this Tang 'em Up. I don't know what this is about really. I think it's kind of interesting. I don't know if it's appealing to a different audience. So there you go. A little bit of fun from them. They also had a YouTube contest, and I'm going to go up ahead and upload an example of that. And you and your friends could get together and create an ad saying why you liked Miracle Whip versus mayonnaise. So that was the opening campaign and just a little bit about what they were trying to do with it. Now, the book I'm using has an opening sort of campaign in every chapter, but I'm not always able to find ads that come from that campaign or even, this is where we are now. On this one, I was lucky enough to find a few ads. And so in terms of class discussion, we talk about if we felt it was successful or not. So this is the model of communication which you've seen before in other classes. We have one side, we have the source. On the other side, we have the receiver. The source is a little bit more complicated than just, the company. We're going to talk about that later. How do I choose the face of my company to represent who we are? As you, over here, receive a message, if your field of experiences overlaps quite a bit with the source or sender, then communication is going to be much easier. You're going to both come up with the same message, and it's going to work out okay. Because the source can't put his thoughts, pull them right out of his head and shove them right into your head, they have to encode the message. And by that, what language do we use? Do we use verbal communication? Do we use nonverbal communication? Do we use visual symbols? Do we use cartoons? Do we use CGI? How do we encode it? And hopefully, we as a receiver are decoding it kind of the same way. You have to choose a channel, and you can see that the message development is kind of inside the channel box. And by that, we mean that if you decide that outdoor media is your channel, then your message is limited to that. Outdoor media includes blimps, the sides of buses, bus stops. Those are all kind of unique places to put your message. Walking across campus, you can put chalk on the sidewalk. It's a very good way to do it. You're limited to then what your channel can do, and then as you put your message together, it has to fall in line with that. So a later chapter, we're going to talk about the different possible channels and some of the pluses and minuses of each of those. We have a big feedback loop. So we as a receiver respond to this message that we sent out over here. And at the same time all that's going on, we have noise, and sometimes we call this noise clutter. This is all the other things that are going on and just making stuff happen for us. And it's hard to hear, it's hard to know, and how do we get around that clutter. So that's our essentially basic communication model, and it's still one we use today. We're going to talk about some modifications of it, more peer-to-peer communication and more back and forth communication instead of just from the source to us, as kind of the new way to communicate with consumers. So everything that we do communicates, and we're going to talk about that a little bit, but we also have something that specifically is designed to help communicate, and we call that the promotional mix. So we have advertising, public relations, personal selling, direct marketing. Those are the ones. So advertising, personal selling, public relations, direct marketing, sales promotion. That's another one that we threw in there. Of course, personal selling is a type of direct marketing, but it's so important and so strong that we pull it out and give it its own little box to talk about it. So advertising is a generic message sent to everybody. It's really not customizable. We use the major media to get it out there. It has an identified sponsor, so it's not, we don't have to guess who's trying to talk to us. This, I think, is a very nice visual magazine ad. Heinz ketchup, mostly tomato. It's pretty cool. I think it's a fun, visually strong ad. Now, sales promotion, on the other hand, is a short-term sort of thing. We're offering a discount, we're offering coupons, sometimes we're setting up displays, sometimes we have demonstration. One of the problems with sales promotion is that we tend to overuse discounts and coupons, which may cheapen the image of our product. If I can use brand equity building sales promotion, such as displays and demonstrations, that's going to be good. I'm going to have a link here to a sales promotion I think that is more about brand building, and so that'll be fun to look at. Public relations involves building good relations with the company's various publics by obtaining favorable publicity, building up a good corporate image, and handling or heading off unfavorable rumors, stories, and events. So when we think of public relations, one of the things that we do think of is we've just had some bad publicity. But publicity is just one part of a public relations campaign. But if something happens, we put out a product that ends up giving people salmonella, then we have to really scramble, and we tend to call that public relations. But public relations is every company has all these people that feel like they should have a say in what the company does. They're the various publics. So public relations is about reaching out to those various publics. This is a link to the alumni page at Western Oregon. So it kicks out. You're only seeing a portion of the page. Now, I treat the alumni as a public quite a bit different than I do the staff, than I do the students, than I do the faculty. I look to them to be generous in their giving. It's a whole different communication pattern. I have alumni boards. I have newsletters. I have opportunities for them to come to homecoming, those sorts of things. Press releases is a tool that we have, creating a special event. So I have an example of coming up of both the public relations here and the special event. So if I'm going out and I'm buying ad time, I'm paying for media. So that's a paid media. That's typical advertisement, TV and radio. I put some stuff out on my own blog, my own websites. That's media that I own. One thing that I try to do is to generate publicity via news reports, and then that's my earned media. So my example I'm going to show up here is that Monteith's Brewery, and it's pretty good, and how they went out and tried to earn media. Shared media is this idea that you as a user end up creating something in it and putting it up online for me. So the Miracle Whip example, when they had the YouTube competition, that was shared media, user-generated media. So it's great because what it means is that they're more involved with your product, they're more excited about what you do, they're more engaged, and that's a good thing. Personal selling is our biggest tool. It has the shortest feedback loop. It's our most expensive when it comes to a per-person contact basis, but it is very persuasive. It's face-to-face. Rarely do I use personal selling when it comes to selling consumer products, because consumer products, they're mass marketed, and so I'm selling, Coke, I'm selling cigarettes, I'm selling beer, and each individual purchase is quite small. But personal selling is more related to selling big ticket items. Automobiles use personal selling. Fine jewelry perhaps uses personal selling. But we tend to see it in the channel. And that's our example. I'm going to have a little clip about Procter & Gamble and the role that personal selling plays for them. I think it's fairly interesting. Direct marketing, and there are a ton of different examples of direct marketing. Now, it's a very broad category. Some of the direct marketing I'm not happy about at all. Telemarketing I do not like. But catalog is surprisingly still effective because catalogs are fairly obtrusive in that they come out to your house and knock on your door, let you know that they're there. And every time you move it around the house, they're usually pretty nice and you just don't want to throw it away. You have to look at it. So that's pretty cool. So here's some other things that are fun. Kiosks. That's become kind of a new sort of direct marketing deal. Another kiosk, getting us in and out quickly. So this is a gift registry. This is, that kind of stuff. We're seeing kiosks become quite a bit more sophisticated in the United States. This sort of vending machine approach is very big in Japan, but not necessarily big in the United States. But you're seeing more higher-end products that are working their way to these vending machine type kiosks. And kiosks can be these small retail spaces. So you have a product or an idea that can't fill up a whole store, but in a small space, it's going to work fairly well for you. Okay, some more direct response. We used to shorten up the feedback loop, we'd call it a call to action. And we'd have up here a website or a 1-800 number. But now all we have is a hashtag. So we have, this is an article that I'll probably link to and have it up here. And some of the successful companies that have run direct response campaigns. Direct response is very dependent upon your database, but especially if you're going very broad. The more accurate your database is, the less money you'll spend on people that are not interested at all in the product that you have to offer. So that's what a database brings to direct response. It's all part of that. Alternative media. Just click on this real quick. I may link some of the individual items as well. Sometimes we call it guerrilla marketing. You can see some of the things that they have. That's probably about pollution, that one in particular. Street art. This was a thing for a bit, the flash mob that would show up. They even actually had a television show about a flash mob that people would put together. So there's some good things about guerrilla marketing. Cheap to execute, creative thinking, word of mouth. But if it's too mysterious, it can be misunderstood, and generally only works the first couple of times. Here's an axe one. Now they're chasing the guy. Guinness on a queue. Shark Week on the Discovery Channel. That's pretty good. This is sunbathing and what it can do for you. Put you in a coffin. Weight Watchers, you reach up and pull off those little stickers. That's pretty cool. Visually, that's too scary for me. I'm not good at that kind of stuff. Swiss skydive, that seems fairly clever. I do like the stair type approaches. IKEA, they were doing it in one town in Belgium. They're trying to get people to walk more. And so they put actual musical keys on the stairs. You could still ride up the escalator if you wanted, but you could walk up the stairs and make music just like from the movie Big. So that ended up being pretty good. This is for a King Kong movie. I thought that was kind of fun. Oh wait, I'm running out of time. There's a 15-minute time limit to this. So that's kind of where we're going to stop right there. And then we'll talk about some of this other stuff in the next program.